Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, I've mentioned to you guys in the past that I play poker. I tend to go to Vegas quite a bit, and I'm in the beginning stages of planning my next trip. I'll be going out for the World Series of Poker, obviously. And, every time I go to Vegas, I always get literally thousands of dollars in singles to bring home. But that's not all. You see, I handle a lot of different pieces of currency while I'm out there. I mean, you're gambling. You pay with everything with cash. You get cash in change. So when I spot stuff when I'm out in Vegas, I tend to set it aside and put it in a little envelope. And that way I know when I come home, I don't spend any of the cool stuff. Well, I'm getting a little older now, and I am starting to discover surprises for myself. Like, I went and got my bag so that I could just clean it out and make sure there was nothing left over from the last trip. And what did I find inside? I found an envelope with some money in it. Now, I'm sure you're all happy whenever you find an envelope full of money. Me, I'm doubly so because it's not money that I just get to spend. It's usually money I put in that envelope for a very specific reason. What might that stuff be? Well, it's the stuff that I found, what's the best way to put it? In transit, in spending, in pocket change. While I was out there, I did find this 2003 $5 note. It is one of the monochrome notes. A monochrome note obviously doesn't have the color. It's simply the black and white version. You'll spot them immediately when you see that circle because the newer notes don't have the circle around Lincoln. So I decided I was going to put this one away because it was in decent shape. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't have any weird creases, cuts, tears. It is circulated. You can see it does have a little crease over here, a little crease over here, but nothing dramatic with it. So I figured I'd bring it home and I'd compare it to the ones I've got and just to see, because I always find it harder to spend these than the regular $5 bills. So I put that one aside. Then I found this in my change while I was out there. It's a birthday note. That would be 2004, March 5th. So March 5th, 2004 birthday note. Always keeping an eye out in my change. Like I said, I spotted it and I put it away so that I wouldn't spend it, and then I forgot about it. And then finally, I specifically remember cashing out a slot machine ticket. And when it spit out my stuff, this note here was spit out as well. And you can see it's a Where's George. Please enter this bill at where'sgeorge.com. I remember specifically getting this at the Orleans. So, yeah, check the pockets of your suitcases, people. You never know what kind of neat stuff you're going to find. That's the stuff that I found from my previous vacation that I intentionally set aside so that I wouldn't spend. I was quite successful in not spending these. I was just not as successful as remembering that I had them. So you'll get old someday too. And if you already call yourself old, go check your suitcases. You never know what's going to be in there. All right. So that's my tip for this week. What did I find? I found a stack. I found a pretty big stack this week. I found another Where's George here at www.where'sgeorge.com, so I will be listing this one as soon as I finish. Let me just move this out of the way here. So I found a Where's George. I found a trinary. This is 0s, 7s, and 8s. Here we've got 1s, 3s, and 7s. 0s, 1s, and 5s. Close to all kinds of stuff. If you ignore that first one, you've got a radar, 1150511, but we can't ignore digits. So it's almost a radar, not a radar, no additional value on that. 2s, 5s, and 7s on this one. And this is 0s, 4s, and 5s. And yes, if that was a 4, again, almost a radar, but yeah, we don't play the almost game. This note will never straighten out. For some reason, it's just warped no matter how many books I put on top of it. 3s, 4s, and 8s. And then quads. Quad 0s on this note. Quad 1s. Another quad 1s. Rough shape on this one. Quad 1s, much better condition. All right, now it's a reasonable stack that I can hold on to. quad 2s with a 5th, quad 3s as the leading numbers, quad 9s, and yes, if that 2 was a 0 or if that 0 was a 2, it would be a radar, but it's not a radar. We won't count it that way, and the corner's trashed as well. Found some stars. 2017 star note, really nice shape on this one. Always checking to make sure that your stars are not filled in. A 2017 star note here. Another 2017. Another 2017. And some more. This one's got a little bit more wear. This one's also pretty good. 2017. And then 2013 B note. We all know about the star notes that are 2017s, or I'm sorry, 2013s from New York. So I will be checking that. And I found another one. And another one. Now I know not all 2013s qualify, so I think this number's a little too high, but I'm gonna double check it anyway. And who knows, we may get lucky on that. 2013 F, also a star. E, I didn't put these in any kind of particular order, just by year. This one's got a little bit of writing on it. That's too bad. If it's not rare, it's probably going to go away. Starting with a couple zeros. I always like to see that because to me, not all lower numbers are rare, but many of the rares are lower numbers. So when you see it starting with a few zeros like that, that's a good sign. Not to say the higher numbers can't be rare. Just something that I happen to notice, that the lower numbers have a tendency to be more rare. Let's see, still on 2013, so yeah, a ton of stars in this batch. Another one from 2013, another 2013. This one is rough. This is starting the old notes. This one feels like a piece of cloth. It is so trashed. I pulled it. It's gonna go back. I'm not saving this one, but it was a 1999, so it does meet the requirements to get pulled. There's just not much left of it, so that'll go away. 1999. Normally I'd call this one trashed, but compared to the last one, this one was pretty good. Another 99, much better condition than the last ones. Another 99. 1995, first shot at a web note, not a web note. 1993, also a chance at a web note. It's not. This one is really crisp. I just wish it was from somewhere other than Chicago. Chicago, I see a lot of those notes, so probably not even an upgrade for me. 1988A, first year for a web note. No, it's not a web note. Now, I still have a lot of bills left. This is a 1969D. It's in decent shape. It's got a hard crease down the center. It's got a crease over here. Shows a lot of handling. It's an I note. I don't find a lot of I notes. For some reason, I notes just are not printed in mass quantities. So I have a feeling that this 69D I note is probably going to make it into my book, just because I don't have a whole lot of them until now. Because this is also a 69D, also an I note. I'll have to check them out to see which one is the better of the two. So I'm sure one of these two is going to make it into my book. Then we've got a 1969D. This one is a J note. That is Kansas City. So I will hopefully be filling a couple spots in my book. Then we have a 1969B. Also, this one's from Chicago. Pretty rough shape, but still 69B. Not a note I'm used to seeing, so with a little luck, that'll fill a hole. And then we've got another this is a 1963 Joseph W. Bar note. One of the bar notes, this one's from Chicago. It's in pretty rough shape. I'm pretty sure I've got a Chicago bar note, but still, finding a bar note in circulation. Bar notes were only available for 30 days. That's what makes them cool. Joseph W. Bar was only the Secretary of the Treasury for the last 30 days of the administration. That is why people tend to cherish bar notes. The thing is, people did cherish those bar notes, which means there are a lot of them that were saved in comparison to the 1963A. You never see 1963A because nobody saved them. You'll find 63s because that was the first year, but 63B is more common than any of them, even though it was a fairly short print. All right, so that's what I found this week. What did I bring out? Well, I did a trade with my friend Jessica Poulin, and I was able to score a $50 Canada note. Now, this isn't an old note, it's not a rare note or anything like that. It is what they are currently using in Canada. It's a crisp $50 note. I say crisp, that's kind of cheating because these are polymer notes. These are made out of plastic. So that in and of itself is cool. But 50s in American currency are generally tough to come by. You don't see them, and I wanted to get a hold of a Canadian 50 just because I have to assume the same thing. It's not one of the more popular denominations. The most popular image that everybody has is a $100 bill, regardless of country. And if you break a $100 bill, more often than not, you're going to get 520s. You're not going to get 250s. So 50s is just not a denomination that gets spent. So I wanted to make sure I grabbed one of these. Now, this particular $50 bill, no one has ever explained this one to me. I want to call this the face of the bill because there is a face on the bill. You can see who this is here. Where is it? There's the signatures. I can just barely read it. I know if I keep zooming, it's not going to focus right. Let's see. Oh, that's the signatures of the deputy governor, the governor. But this is W.L. Mackenzie, King Premier Minister, or Prime Minister from 1921 to 1930, and again from 1935 to 1948, I believe it is. Now, some of the other things that you're going to find on here, well, before I get to that, with there being a face on there, I assume that this would be known as the face of the bill. But you're going to notice that there's something missing on this bill if this is the face, and that would be the serial numbers, because the serial numbers are on this side. Now, with the serial numbers on this side, that would make you think that this is the face of the bill. So I'm not sure which would be considered the face. Now, I also can see that there is Braille on this note. And that's one of the cool things about the polymer bills is you can do the Braille stamping as well. And I am led to believe that this would be how you would read it. So I would once again think this is the face. And, once again, being able to do this, you would feel that as Braille. But once again, I'm not sure because Braille is usually done with these fingertips. And if I grab this bill, you can see it's my thumb that's on this side and my fingers would be on the back. So my clue as to which side this would be is, once again, I would think that this would then be the front because you have the denomination, you have the serial numbers. And if you were to grab this bill, well, if you were right-handed and grabbed this bill, I'm left-handed, you would feel the Braille with your fingertips on this side. Now, this particular bill you can see on the back has, well, on the face, I guess, that's what we're going to do, has the CCGS Amundsen Research Icebreaker. That's that right there. And it has these symbols up here. I do not know what those mean. But if you look real close, you can see the Canadian flag on the icebreaker. That's really cool. Some of the other things you're going to find on here, there is this little window here so that you can see through the note. You can see through this section of the note as well. There's my hand. You have the holographic image of the face on there, as well as the tower. Very cool. Now, they do use the micro printing right underneath here. You can see it's a number 50 that just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Very, very difficult to do. Now, some of the other anti-counterfeiting measures are these dots, okay? You can see this area of dots here. You can see the area of dots here. And if I flip this over, you get the pattern of the dots here as well. What are those dots? Well, copy machines recognize these dots and they're looking for a very specific pattern. I talked about this in other stuff, and that pattern is basically, it looks like the 3 stars from Orion's belt. 3 dots not quite aligned straight. Like, I don't remember if it was this way or this way, but they're not aligned straight. They're almost straight, but not quite. And when it sees that image, it will stop the copy machine. So you cannot photocopy this stuff. We see it on American currency a lot, and it's also used, obviously, on foreign currency. So this $50 bill is actually older than I thought, because if you look right up top here, you can see the issue is 2012. So, yeah, this has been circulating for 10 years already. And that's pretty cool. Anyway, that is the $50 bill I got from my friend Jessica Poulin. Thank you very much, Jessica, for doing the trade. I appreciate it. It's really cool to have one of the Canadian 50s, especially one in really good condition like this, because it's a note that I just don't have. And like I said, when it comes to specific denominations, the 50 is one that is less circulated, at least in my opinion. It's definitely that way with American currency. I'd have to assume the same with Canadian currency. So I was very happy to get one of these. All right, guys. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.